pledge.
All right. Let's, Nick, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Sure. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
United
of the
States
United
of
States
America,
of America,
to the
and to the republic
which
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
All right. Debbie,
Roll call.
fire away.
Okay. Mr. Freeman,
Here.
Mr. Kelly.
Here.
All right. So, and I think Loretta, got to call more instructions from the chair. Since this is a public hearing regarding a zoning matter, anyone who wishes to speak during the public hearing, applicant, staff, or the public, has to be sworn in. We will allow the public to speak at the appropriate time during this hearing, following receipt of the staff report, presentation, and questions from the trustees. So with that, I'm going to yield to Eddie to go ahead and begin the discussion of the zoning issues.
Do you want to do the oath? Do you solemnly swear?
Well, let's go through the basis of it, or do you need to be sworn in? I don't think as staff you have to be sworn in.
I think usually the staff is sworn in,
All right,
but I defer
then-
to the law director because I was going to go ahead and be sworn in just in case I felt like saying anything.
I think it's clean to swear everybody in up front.
Okay,
Clean.
Eddie and Loretta, do you solemnly swear to affirm under penalty of perjury that you will tell the truth in these proceedings?
I do.
I do.
There we go. You are officially sworn. Please proceed.
All right, so the public hearing is request ZC 2020-003, which was properly advertised per the ORC and the Pierce Township zoning resolution. The application is to rezone the subject transitional residential district, of which there are 302 total parcels, approximating 638 acres in area, to single-family residential. And this was initiated by the Zoning Commission on December 1st, 2020. This is just an aerial of the area to be rezoned. As you can see, the transitional residential district is primarily around what was the former Amelia Village corporate boundary. That is the area that is proposed to be rezoned to single family residential. And just for reference, the areas that are kind of in tan that more or less predominate, the predominant zoning classification on the map here, you'll notice, is single family residential. It's more or less our default zoning district, essentially. Very low intensity. Just a brief history. The TR district was created in June 2010 as a response to annexation pressures from the village of Amelia. In November 2019, the residents of the former village voted to dissolve the jurisdiction. August 2020, the Zoning Commission initiated a study into the district. December 2020, the Zoning Commission formally initiates the application to rezone all TR parcels to single-family residential. On December 15th, the Claremont County Planning Commission recommends approval of the rezoning. January 5th, 2021, the Zoning Commission held their public hearing and recommended accepting the Planning Commission's recommendation for approval. The staff has found that the proposal to rezone the subject parcels to single-family residential is generally supported by the land use plan and zoning resolution, all of which are enclosed in the staff report distributed. Based upon the review of the district, the majority of land uses adjacent to the TR are generally residential in nature. The Zoning Commission, through a bit of analysis and a number of discussions, determined that the TR district more or less has outlived its intended purpose as the village of Amelia no longer exists. So the SFR tends to make sense as it makes up the majority of residential parcels in the township, tends to be a neutral, low impact district. So in the event that a rezoning or a higher intensity were preferred in a particular area, that's always an option as well to go back, but it would be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. So I included these tables here just as a frame of reference. So you can see that the TR district is highlighted in green on both tables here. Table 4.04 -1 on the right is the residential use table. You'll see that the uses are pretty similar between it and the single family residential, but some of the key differences you'll notice are the TR allows multifamily and institutional housing as a by right use, whereas the single family residential district does not allow those as a by right use. Similarly, on the table 6.05-1, TR highlighted again, you can see minimum lot sizes are 7,000 square feet, which is the smallest permitted in the township. They also have some of the least restrictive setbacks as well. And you can see the single family residential, which is on the far left of that table, the minimum lot size of 20,000 square feet, slightly more restrictive setbacks, which create obviously larger yards and that sort of thing. So as such, staff recommends the Board of Trustees consider the Zoning Commission and Planning Commission's approval recommendations and staff reports and pass a motion to approve the application to rezone the subject transitional residential parcels to single-family residential with the following two conditions. One, that the Department of Community and Economic Development GIS division shall be notified of all parcels to be rezoned. And the second condition pertains to the moratorium, in which the moratorium set via resolution 2020-019 and extended until February 28th, 2021 shall remain in effect until the effective date of this approval, which is generally 30 days after the resolution is passed. So, of course, if you were to make an affirmative acceptance of the foregoing proposal, staff would then go generate the resolution working with our law director and bring that to your next meeting. So, of course, staff is here if you have any questions, and I can provide any further analysis you need.
Eddie, how many parcels are going to be affected by this?
302.
Of course, we put out public notice and things via our typical outlets, but have otherwise property owners been made aware of what's going on, the people that own these parcels?
As far as, the legal requirements to notify, we've done that. We've posted this in all of the traditional formats we normally do. We did not notify the parcel owners on an individual basis, but we did advertise in the Claremont Sun and that all of those avenues.
So if I own one of these parcels and I'm not a frequent reader of the Claremont Sun or following our township on Circle, I may not know about this.
Yeah, that's definitely always a possibility.
So do you want to make a recommendation, Nick?
Yeah, just because it's not legally required doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do. I think perhaps maybe we should consider getting something directly to these parcel owners to ensure that they've been made aware of this and they have an issue with it. They have ample time and ample notification that they may want to, have their voice heard about what's going on with their property.
Could I make one possible suggestion here?
Mm-hmm.
One thing you could do is you could create this resolution and introduce it at your next meeting, and then you could hold it for 30 days if you wish. And during that 30 days, you could issue additional publication so that everybody in the public at least has a second chance to realize that you're actually considering it as trustees. Some boards of trustees would do something like that. It's not mandatory, but you could.
I mean, we have had this discussion about, the TR and how to move forward, but I'm sensitive to what Nick is saying. I mean, as far as people in the neighborhood knowing exactly how it's playing out and, exactly what the recommendation is, if you didn't go to the planning commission meeting or the zoning commission meetings, didn't attend any of those things, you might not have been aware. Not that this isn't good work and not that this isn't the right direction to go, but it would generate additional conversation in the community about it if we just kind of held it, kicked it out, and then took it up as a final vote at our next board meeting.
That's my only hang up. I think it's probably a good move. It makes a lot of sense. It's just, I don't want it going through without ensuring everybody's been made aware of it and what's going on, have ample time to say what they need to say if anybody has questions or feedback.
Right.
So I don't know if we need a motion or anything, right? I mean,
No, not yet. Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and follow this agenda, and then we won't make the motion until we close the meeting and then go, the deliberation by the trustees in the next round. Correct, Eddie?
Yep.
Just to follow the process. So right now, I guess what I would do is I'd open it unless there's more discussion between the trustees or Debbie or anybody else that wants to make a comment. If none, then let's go ahead and open it up to public comment. I will also have to, for anybody that wants to comment, I will have to swear you in as well. So is there an order that I need to do this in, Eddie, like the proponents versus the opponents?
That's a traditional way to go. Opening for public comment. Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition or in favor of, you can definitely do that.
Let's do this. We'll separate it so that anyone who is in favor of the TR change, the transitional residential change, let's have you raise your hands now. Eddie, can you give them the directions on how to raise your hand and ask for comment? And then we'll swear all of those folks in, and then we'll take the opponent side, and then we'll do the same.
Sure. Yep. If you're on the phone, you'll press *9 in order to raise your hand. And if you're just on participating through your computer on the participant panel, you'll press raise your hand in order to raise your hand.
So if you are in favor of this motion, please raise your hand now so you can make comment and I can swear you in. Okay. I am currently not seeing any hands raised. Okay, since I see no hands raised, then let's do the same for the opponents. Anyone who is opposed to the zoning change, ZC 2020-003, please raise your hands now so I can swear you in. Okay, we've got Tim Rosser. I'm going to attempt to, okay, I'm not successful. Okay, he's unmuted. Go ahead, Tim. I'm going to swear you in. Are you there? Please raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that you will tell the truth in these proceedings?
I do.
I figured you would. Fire away.
I guess, having.
Yes. Did we lose you? Tim? Is Tim still there?
He is. It looks like he was muted. So I'll just
Can you unmute
him. Sometimes there's a little delay, so I'm asking him to unmute here.
Okay, you want me to just go ahead and ask anyone else that wants to? Is anybody else out there that wishes to speak? Please raise your hand. I'll go ahead and swear you in while we're waiting for Tim to come back. Tim, are you back?
I'm here.
Oh, good. Okay. Fire away.
Okay. I've had two screens, and Eddie, don't get me wrong here. I don't I did not attend the zoning meetings or commission meetings, but the thing is, I don't think we know enough about this to even do a vote. When it was yes or no, I chose no because I just don't have a clue how this will affect our, the former village.
In the end, Tim, it really won't,
Okay.
because a long time ago, and Eddie alludes to this in his presentation, the township changed the zoning around the village because they felt that the zone change would take away the desire to be annexed into the village. So that tan area that you see there on the map was designed to mimic the zoning of the former village of Amelia.
Okay.
With the thought that if it's a zoning reason why somebody wants to be annexed out of Pierce Township and into Amelia, we got you covered because you got the same zoning that they have.
Correct.
So it was used as a defensive mechanism that, quite frankly, when you look at what happened with the Palmer property, it really didn't work.
Okay.
The one thing that does trouble me, and I'm just telling you what from me, it's up to you to decide. But from my perspective, I think it gives more uses that you probably don't want in a zoning code, and by switching it to the residential, it puts it into a more consistent code with the rest of Pierce Township.
Okay.
So, remember there were some comments that Eddie made about by rights. Some of those were like institutional uses, things like that.
Okay.
And so we've had a couple of situations where, there were some uses we didn't particularly like, but it was inside of, the residential zoning of Pierce Township. And so we were able to get things changed and moved and that sort of thing. So I think, to me, I think the TR really has kind of just outlived its usefulness. The village doesn't exist anymore. So annexation doesn't apply anymore. So we're just tidying it up. But your point is well taken. I do think that people need to understand, what it is that we're trying to do, because it is a zone change and people do get touchy about zone changes, And so
Right.
I think the more information, the more comment is always the better.
Right. And I know it's a lot of work to put, some type of a flyer or so into the mail to each of these folks, but I think it's definitely needed for folks to be able to understand. We can put out information as much as we can, but at the end of the day, I do believe every household should have their own set of, information that they can go by.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this will not change any type of, this just makes us join with what Pierce Township currently is. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, it'd be like single family, that would be single family, and it's essentially what all the residential areas of Pierce are. And if I'm in a residential area and I'm bordered up against this TR, I own property or I'm close to it, I would personally feel better about having it zoned residential versus TR. For instance, I think it was about a year ago or so, probably more now, that we had somebody looking into putting in like an affordable housing complex on one of these lots, and that ultimately didn't work out. But that's kind of what we're trying to mirror away from something like that, I guess, and have it mimic more closely to what the surrounding zoning is representative of. So something that fits in better with what's around it. Ultimately, I think probably, but I agree with you that we, obviously from my initial statements, we need to make sure we educate folks and make everybody aware of this.
Right. Okay. Yeah. The other thing is this wouldn't change, the rate of taxes in any way, because I've been trying to get things deciphered with the auditor's office in Claremont County on what we're currently at. And I mean, they must be getting inundated with questions because I leave a message for them to call me back. And that was at 10 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, this wouldn't change any of the base tax issues at all.
Okay. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right. Anyone else? All right. Seeing no further hands, agenda-wise, I'm switching back to the agenda. I guess at this point, we need to move out of the hearing session, right?
Need a motion to close the public hearing.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back to the agenda. Yeah, so do we have a motion to close the public hearing and go back into regular session?
I'll make the motion.
All right, I'll second it. Debbie, roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Public hearing is closed. Okay,
All right, so now we move into can you post back up the agenda, please, Eddie?
No problem.
So that everybody can see our agenda. So we've gone through the approval, we've gone through the, we do some deliberations of the trustees. I think if I'm sensing everything, the sense of the trustees is we'd like to table this until our next board meeting. Is that correct? With notification of surrounding homeowners.
That would be my preference.
Okay.
I thought
Can I
Tom,
ask a question? Do you want me to go ahead and prepare the resolution immediately so you can attach that to whatever goes to the citizens?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I can do it immediately.
Hey, Tom, just a procedural thing. So we'll run this extra advertisement to get, to make sure everyone, gets another opportunity. And then the conversation that's going to generate, can we just go back into a public hearing? Can we
No,
make a motion? Okay,
no, you don't need, the public hearing's finished. It's up to the trustees and their deliberations to make the decision from here on out.
but
So
what
if
I'm
I
saying is,
prepare a resolution, the trustees can introduce it anytime they want at their next meeting, or they can kick it down the road another 30 days or another 15 days, whatever they want.
well, what I mean is there might be public comment generated as a result.
Yeah,
Then we
and the
put that in
trustees
file.
always allow that in their regular sessions. So people would feel free to come to the public meetings and speak out.
And then we can add that to the public record.
But the other question I think is for Alan and Nick is, do you want this to be by publication, or do you want to figure out a way to send some kind of a notice to these people at their 300 individual addresses?
Notice 300 individual addresses would be my preference.
whew, postage.
I know it takes work, but I don't want this. I mean, I think it's going to be a good thing. I just don't want on the back end to do it and have people upset they didn't know about it. I think with the inside view on people who are involved, and we all are, obviously as trustees, but even people that regularly attend meetings, you have a different perspective. I think a lot of people aren't really in tune with this stuff. There's a lot of people that aren't reading the Claremont Sun or aren't part of our circle. You get a zoning change on your property that you didn't know about. I just think everybody should be made aware of it.
Right.
I just want to remind you that if you set a new standard where you're going to do a direct mailing for every single zone change to every single parcel involved, in addition to the notices that are required to go to property owners within 300 feet, unless you do a legal notice, which is what the code says, is supposed to reach the most people. We all know that people don't read papers much anymore. But if you set a new standard, I think that we set ourselves such that we need to be committing to do this every single time, which means that you're going to have the staff resources, the time, the mailing materials in order to do these direct mailings on every zone change that you have into the future. I think you really need to think about that, whether that's what's happening. And that's a legal question that I would ask our law director to consider into the future as well.
Well, let me comment. This is a specific zone change for specific properties. The idea of notification by publication would be if you want to change the zoning code to change therefore to notwithstanding, or, you know, put some different words in language that affects the entire township. In that case, you would never want to send notice to every single home in Pierce Township. But I think what the trustees are wrestling with now is whether, since this affects 300 specific lots, whether it should be done for them. So I don't think it sets any kind of a major precedent that you have to do it every time. But I certainly understand what Eddie's saying is that it would be, or Debbie's saying it would be a major undertaking to find these addresses. Because right now there's nothing I'm sure there's nothing in Eddie's file that shows what the addresses are of all these people that are affected by this. But my point is, I don't know that it sets a absolute binding precedent for all future zone changes, not all.
I think there's a distinction here between, you know, what we would normally get as a zone change. You know, if you've got a subdivision, you know, that's the parcel that's asking for the change.
Right.
In this case, you're asking for a change of 300 different people's residence, most of which won't care probably. But if they end up finding out about it and they get confused, at least they know that we tried. And I just, you know, I know that it's difficult and I know that it's costly. But at the end of the day, I mean, you know, this is a bit different animal than what we normally deal with.
With the addresses, I'm happy to do that. I'll get on Claremont GIS and I'll help with that if help is needed.
There you go. We got a volunteer.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think that'll be a problem. We've got an Excel spreadsheet of everything that we pulled out of the back end of the GIS and everything. So I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. But thank you, appreciate it.
If you need us to, we'll come up and stuff envelopes too.
I do think it would be best though if you guys hand deliver them instead. Like I think
Okay.
that's more personalized. You know?
Not a problem. Not a problem. You tell us what street and we'll do it. All right. So
McCoy's son to do it.
there you go.
He did good with the streetlights.
There you go. So basically, now we're going to have to discuss this because we also have, you know, bullet points here for motions for consideration, approval with modifications, denial. Did we do a motion to table this until the next meeting? Did we take care of all that?
You haven't done a motion yet.
All right. So
Yeah, go ahead.
we want to craft a motion that says we'd like to table this motion or this action pending notification of the residents affected by the change.
Yeah, that's good.
At our next, do we want to say at our next meeting or do it
Pending notification.
of the residents affected by this, give me the number of the pending the notification of residents affected by, and then the number of the zone change,
Number.
Yeah.
Okay.
the resolution change. Anyway,
So do you want it by your next meeting or your next regular meeting?
I'd say our next regular meeting.
Yeah.
So no resolution to be generated for the next meeting. Just next meeting will be continuance and advertisement, and then we'll have a motion for a decision after that. My understanding.
Yeah. Right. And then the one thing we may, since we're doing this, since we're tabling it, we may think about also having a motion to extend the moratorium another 30 days. Just thinking about the sequencing of all this. So we may want to be prepared to do that as well.
Okay.
Does that sound right, Eddie? I mean, if you think about just doing the math, our next board meeting isn't until February the
10th.
the 10th. So February the 10th is our next official meeting. So let's say we take action on it on the 10th. And you give 30 days, that's going to put it past the 28th of February. And I think that's what the date, oh, it's right at the bottom. The date of our next meeting is at the bottom of our agenda. But that would push, if we did it that way, then it pushes it out. The 30 days for it to take effect would push it out past February the 28th, which is the moratorium runs out, right?
Yeah, that's right. And one of the conditions I was recommending was to basically link whatever decision you make with a moratorium extension, so that it has a sunset on it.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's perfect.
we can definitely get that crafted too when you guys.
Yeah, I just don't want to, leave that up in the air. Okay,
So Alan, are you making the motion to table this action pending notification of residents affected by this zoning?
I will make the motion.
Okay.
I will second.
Okay. Mr. Freeman
Yes.
and Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
All right, so we've done all that. We've gotten past that. Do we need to make another motion to come to get into new business, or are we good there?
You have to, we have to close this.
Okay, let's do the motion to close the public hearing. I thought we did that, but let's do it
You
again.
did that.
You
You did that.
Okay, motion to go
Into regular.
go into new business.
Can I have a motion to move into the new business on our agenda tonight?
I will make the motion.
I will second.
Okay. Mr. Kelly
Yes.
and Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Okay.
So with that, let's move on into the new business, which let's lead off with Police Chief Bachman. Are you there?
I don't think he's here.
All right. Well,
You want me to
is
read
he-
his
is he
motion?
is he not going to be here at all? Yeah, go ahead and read his motion. We'll take action on the motion.
Okay. Police Chief Bachman requests a motion to approve the cost of tuition in the amount of $2,500 for Police Executive Leadership College. This leadership training is for Lieutenant Julie Poe, consisting of 3 weeks of classes and study.
I'll make the motion.
All right. I will second the motion. Any discussion? We have long had a practice of making sure that our employees are trained on most current information that's out there, and this is going to help Lieutenant Poe, who is quite frankly one of our best officers out there, to continue to grow and help this township immensely. So I'm always pleased whenever we get a chance to send somebody to get continuing education. So if there's any other comments with that, roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly
Yes.
and Mr. Freeman.
Yes. Mr. Kohler, you're up.
I don't think he's here either tonight.
All right. So Debbie, you want to go ahead and read his too?
Sure. Service Department Director Kohler requests a motion to accept the renewal of the fertilization program contract with Sullivan Services in the amount of $6,077.17. And this will also include liquid fertilizer in Pierce Township Cemetery.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, fire away.
Mr. Kelly,
Roll call, please.
Mr.
Yeah.
Kelly
Yes.
and Mr. Freeman.
Yes. Okay, we got another one for John. So Debbie, go ahead.
Service Department Director John Kohler requests a motion to accept the renewal of the ground maintenance contract with Sullivan Services in the amount of $49,090.16. This is for 28 cuts for 2021.
Has this gone up or down? Do we
It has
know
gone up.
how much?
Right off the top of my head, I don't know, but this does include all the parks and everything, and Jenny Land and Amelia. I can get you that
It's gone
number.
up.
I'll get you that number then, Nick.
That's cool. Just
It's
curious.
gone.
Make sure we don't get creeped on each year. No, we're out of line.
No, the rate has stayed the same. The rate's the same. but it includes more property.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
All right, seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman,
Yes.
Service Department Director John Kohler requests a motion to accept the renewal of the spring clean contract with Sullivan Services in the amount of $10,754. This is for administration, parks, cemetery, and entrance to Quail Creek.
And this is the same basic situation.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, it's gone up, but we're asking them to do more.
Right.
So with that, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly
Yes.
and Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Okay. So now we'll move into other business. Loretta, you want to talk about this, or do you want me to?
Either way, I'll just mention what's already said here is that the Park District is applying for Clean Ohio Fund grant money to improve the park area at 10 Mile Creek Preserve. I think you're much more familiar with this because it started before I came here. It was a former Sky Valley area, I believe, is what that property had been. They have found that based upon changes in the legislation, the Clean Ohio program now, rather than only conservation purchases, allows them to fund access improvements to properties that were previously purchased with Clean Ohio funds. So they want to provide parking and trails for the public to enjoy.
So basically in order to apply, they're applying to the Natural Resource Advisory Council of the Ohio Public Works Commission. So the state law requires that the Claremont County Parks notified Pierce Township that they're doing that, which will be really nice because it's a really nice park. It used to be a golf course. It will provide, greater access for the public to utilize that green space. So it's actually kind of exciting. So I'm glad that they're doing it and glad that they notified us.
That'll be nice.
Okay. Yeah,
That was a great golf course for beginners like me.
I know. I used to
It
take
was
my
a small
daughters
golf
down there. We
course.
used to pay $15 and you could play,
Yeah.
play the whole place.
We used to do.
But it's a green space now.
Yeah.
So
We used to do 4th of July picnics there, my family.
Huh.
Under the canopy.
yeah. So this will allow them to have more uses for that green space. Okay, moving on to public comment, open floor discussion. Anybody?
Eddie, you want to give us how you do it, DJ voice style?
Yeah, go ahead and give the disclaimer, please.
Yeah, no problem. If you're on the phone, *9, and if you're just on the computer, you can press raise your hand on the participant panel. If you're having trouble with either of those, if you're having trouble on the computer end, you can send a message through the chat as well.
Okay. There you have it. Well, is there anything that the members of the board would like to discuss?
I have nothing.
I have nothing. So with that, I see no hands raised. Let's move to adjournment.
Mr.
Do we have a
Freeman?
motion? Well, I don't have a motion yet. Can I
Okay,
have a motion, please?
I'm anxious.
Easy. I will make the motion.
Do it, Nick.
You made the motion. I will second.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly
Yes.
and Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody thank you for everybody that participated tonight. We will get those notifications out, let everybody know, and that way we can move forward with this zone change if need be. Thank you, everybody. Good night, and stay
Good
safe.
All right.
All right,
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
good night.